If there's no future possible, then they're going to feel disposable. Good afternoon, my name is Lorenzo. I've been an EMT for almost a decade and an operations manager for 3. Welcome back to my series, where no one tells you about starting an ambulance company. For the 5th and final video in the series, this is called The Entire Job Is Retention. Now, as an owner of a non-emergency transport company, your main job is retaining employees and retaining facilities. Everything else falls downstream from there. Now let's start with the first part, retaining employees. Now, retaining employees is something that a lot of companies has figured out, but for some reason, the non-emergency transport company have not figured this out yet. They think it's money. They think the employees want to go to wherever their next high-paying job is. But the thing is, that's a cycle. It's a cycle of emotional irregularity. As an employee, what you're looking for is stability. And wherever you don't feel stability is where you leave. And a lot of these companies, because they're starting off, they don't have that type of stability. The owner don't know what they're doing, and they're trying to make as much money as they can. Now, there are individuals who do care about employees and who works for them, and they want to make sure that they pay them well and that their paychecks are there. But if you don't have stability in the form of letting the employee know what they're getting into, how much they're going to be working for, essentially how long their tenure can be. And their tenure can be predictable based on how much money they make over time, whether they have retirement, whether they have health benefits, whether they have PTO. These are the things that lets someone know whether or not they can stay for a long time. Not necessarily just how much they make. Because even though individuals will leave for money, they know at the end of the day, if they leave somewhere that has PTO, that has benefits, that has retirement, they're leaving something behind. They're leaving more on the table than just money. And the individuals who think like this are the ones you want, not the ones who will leave because somebody gives them $2 more. These are the things that, as an owner, that you need to set up, put in place for employees, so that way they can make sure that they can stay here and trust that there's longevity here. Because at the end of the day, you want to have a space for your employees to grow. They can learn the routines of the business. They understand what's necessary. They have a care for the patients. They have a care for the company. They have a care for the equipment. And that all starts with the owner. So to reiterate, exceptional employees don't leave solely because of money. They leave because they aren't valued. Now, this capability loss leads into our second retention problem, and that's patient and facilities. Patients and facilities both leave for different reasons. The patient could leave because they spoke to their social worker, the company that they're being transported by isn't able to keep up their word when it comes to being on time for them. They aren't able to keep up their word when it comes to the way that the employees treat them. And these things leaked into the facilities. They communicate with each other. This entire business is communication. If you're unable to communicate in a healthy manner, in an honest manner, that shows that you're willing to uphold your values, that you're trying to have everyone believe, then you're going to lose everything. Here's an example. So the company that I worked for, there was an issue with our management and the other company's management that we worked with. We wanted to make sure that, now this was a nursing facility, it wasn't another ambulance company, but a facility that we would work with and we expected certain things from. I went in there trying to figure out what needed to happen. Where was the breakdown of communication? And as an operations manager, I thought to myself, even though that my other managers didn't want me to go over there, I needed to know exactly what happened and where the communication broke down. So when I went, I had a conversation with the administration there. And through the conversation, I realized that they miscommunicated a lot. They didn't understand each other. So I set down boundaries. Boundaries that let them know, hey, this is what you need to expect from me. Here's my personal number. Here's what you need, so that way you know that you can trust that I can provide what I'm saying to you. Literally within that conversation, that 5 to 10 minute conversation, I was able to have them wanting a contract. I was able to have them wanting to work with me. They were calling me constantly. The woman who worked underneath the individual that I spoke with had my personal number as well. They knew that they can contact me at any point in time to make sure that their service was provided, so that way we can work together to make sure that the patient was provided for. This is all relationship. Everything that we do is about relationships. A short and honest conversation can lead to so many different types of things, so many opportunities for you. So as an overview, there's a pattern here. The pattern is your ability as an owner to communicate with your employees and your ability as an owner to communicate with the individuals that you work with outside of your own business. the nursing facilities, the dialysis clinics, the social workers, all of these individuals, they expect you to hold your word. They expect you to be consistent even when they're not. And retention fails before you even see it coming. It shows up in misalignment, it shows up in miscommunication, it shows up in a lack of care, and these things can kill you before you even see it coming. So in closing, if you run a non-emergency transport company, your entire business should be retaining your employees, retaining your relationships with facilities and social workers or whoever is outside of your business that you need revenue from. Everything else, trucks, dispatch, billing, they all support those relationships. In the next video, I'm going to specifically talk about employee retention and how to keep them. Thank you for watching. This has been The Entire Job Is Retention.